Okay, I need you to stay with me for this entire video. I am not saying that as a throwaway opening line. I am saying it because what I am about to walk you through is the kind of story that builds as it goes, that gets more significant with every new layer you understand, and that arrives at an ending that I genuinely believe is going to hit you differently depending on how much of the journey you followed to get there. So please, stay with me. Because by the time we reach the end of this video, by the time we talk about what is waiting for Jimin at the very last entry on the BTS Festa 2026 schedule, I think you are going to understand why I could not stop thinking about this for days after I first read it. And I think you are going to feel something that is genuinely difficult to put into words, but that every person who has been following Jimin's journey for any significant amount of time is going to recognize immediately. Let us start with what BTS Festa actually is for anyone who might be newer to the BTS universe, because understanding the full weight of what is happening in June 2026 requires a clear foundation. BTS Festa is an annual celebration that takes place every June to mark the anniversary of BTS's debut. It is not a concert in the traditional sense, though it often includes performance elements. It is a celebration. A deliberate, carefully curated, deeply personal acknowledgement of the passage of time and the significance of the journey that BTS and ARMY have taken together. Every year the Festa content reflects where BTS are in their story at that specific moment, what they want to share with fans, what they feel needs to be marked and honored as the anniversary passes. And every year, without fail, the Festa produces moments that ARMY carries with them long after the celebration is over. Moments that become part of the shared emotional history between these 7 artists and the people who love them. But 2026 is different from every previous Festa in one fundamental way. 2026 is the 13th anniversary. And the number 13, for BTS and for ARMY, is not just a number. It carries a weight and a significance that people outside the fandom might not immediately grasp, but that every ARMY member feels in their bones when they see it. 13 is the number that represents completeness in the BTS universe, the number that the group has referenced and celebrated and built meaning around throughout their career. The 13th anniversary is not just another year. It is the year. The one that the entire journey has been building toward in a certain sense, the milestone that represents not just duration but the completion of something that began 13 years ago with 7 young men stepping onto a stage for the very first time and deciding, collectively and individually, to give everything they had. And Big Hit Music, in releasing the official timetable for 2026 BTS Festa, has named this year's celebration with a title that says everything it needs to say in the most elegant and precise way possible. The title is 13 BTS. Written as the number 13, then the letter B, then TS. 13 BTS. And the explanation for this title is worth sitting with for a moment because it is genuinely beautiful in its construction. 13 represents not just the anniversary but the idea of going beyond 12, beyond a complete cycle, into new territory. The group has completed something extraordinary across these 13 years, and now they are adding a new one, a new chapter, a new beginning that carries all the weight of everything that came before it while opening into something that has not yet been written. 13 BTS is not just a number and a name. It is a statement about where BTS are in their story and where they are going. Now let us walk through the Festa schedule, because every single date on this timetable is significant and I want you to understand what is being offered across these 10 days of celebration before we get to the end, before we get to the part that I have been building toward since the first sentence of this video. The schedule begins on June 4th with the BTS family photo. And I want to pause here for a moment because the family photo is one of those deceptively simple Festa traditions that carries enormous emotional weight when you understand what it represents. Every year the family photo documents where BTS are. Not metaphorically, but literally, physically, visually. It captures these 7 men at this specific point in their journey, together, in a frame, and it adds that image to the archive of every previous family photo that ARMY has accumulated across 13 years of Festas. Looking at all of the family photos together is one of the most quietly devastating experiences in the BTS fandom, because you can see the passage of time written in their faces, the evolution from the boys they were to the men they have become, and you can feel the weight of everything that happened in between. The 2026 family photo is going to be the 13th. And it is going to be a full 7 for the first time in several years. All of them. Together. In a frame. That alone would be enough to make this Festa extraordinary. but it is just the beginning. June 5th brings the Hooligan official performance video. Hooligan is one of the tracks from BTS' the fifth album Ararang, the album that has been at the center of the most significant comeback in BTS history. A full studio album from a full 7-member BTS after the military service period, released into a world that had been waiting for it with a patience and a hope that only people who truly love something are capable of sustaining over years of absence. The official performance video for Hooligan is going to show the 7 of them doing what they do best, moving together in that specific BTS way that has no real parallel in the history of popular music, and it is going to be the first time many fans see them like this in this specific context, and it is going to be extraordinary. Then June 6th brings the normal log, which for anyone unfamiliar is BTS's way of sharing glimpses of their daily lives with fans, the kind of intimate documentary content that makes ARMY feel close to the members in a way that performance content alone cannot provide. June 7th brings something called B-Side Film, which appears to be a behind-the-scenes documentary-style release capturing elements of the members' lives and work that do not normally make it into official content. June 8th continues the celebration. Then on June 10th we get the Run BTS 2.0 teaser. Run BTS is one of the most beloved variety programs in the entire history of K-pop, a self-produced show that BTS created to showcase their personalities and their chemistry in a format that was entirely their own. The original Run BTS accumulated years of episodes that ARMY have watched and re-watched with a devotion that speaks to how much joy the content brought to people's lives. And now Run BTS 2.0 is coming. The continuation. The new chapter of a show that ARMY thought might be finished. And June 11th brings the first actual episode of Run BTS 2.0, the full debut of the new chapter of a beloved tradition. 6 months from now ARMY is going to be talking about specific moments from Run BTS 2.0 the way they still talk about moments from the original Run, and it begins here, in the middle of the most significant festa in BTS history. June 12th is where things start to accelerate toward the ending that I have been building toward, and I want you to feel the weight of what arrives on this date. On June 12th, BTS' the fifth album Ararang gets a special physical release in the form of the 613 limited edition picture disc vinyl. A vinyl pressing of the album that commemorates the debut anniversary date, 613 for June 13th, in a limited edition format that is going to become one of the most treasured physical artifacts in the entire BTS discography. Also on June 12th comes the official release and lyric video for Come Over, a song that has been circulating in a limited form as an exclusive track on the deluxe vinyl edition of the album, but which on this date becomes officially and fully available to every ARMY member in the world. And Come Over needs its own moment of discussion because of who produced it and what it says, because Come Over was produced by Suga, and the lyric content of the song is a message from BTS to their fans, a sincere and vulnerable and emotionally direct acknowledgement of the fans who have been there for the long journey, a song that essentially says we found you, finally, and we are not letting go. That song becoming fully available on June 12th, the day before the anniversary, is a choice that carries intention. It is a gift placed the day before the biggest gift, and the sequencing of it is deliberate and beautiful. And then there is June 12th and 13th together. Because on those 2 dates, something happens that is the reason I started this video the way I did, that is the thing that has been waiting at the end of this schedule since the moment I first read it, that is what I need you to understand fully before I name it. On June 12th and 13th, BTS World Tour Ararang comes to Busan. The Busan JiminMain Stadium. 2 nights. 7 members. Full attendance. Every seat sold out instantly. And the final entry on the entire Festa 2026 schedule, the last line of the timetable, dated June 13th, is 3 words. 2013-06-13. Congratulations! That is the debut anniversary. June 13th, 2013. The date that started everything. The date that a group of 7 young men walked onto a stage for the first time and became BTS. And the celebration of that date, the 13th anniversary of that moment, is happening in Busan. At the Busan JiminMain Stadium. With all 7 members on stage together. And ParkJimin is one of those 7 members. ParkJimin, who was born in Busan. Who grew up in Busan. Who learned to dance in Busan. Who left Busan as a teenager with a dream that was bigger than anything the city could have contained, and who has spent 13 years making that dream not just real but world historically significant. ParkJimin is coming home. On the anniversary. In his city. And the entire Festa 2026 schedule, every single date from the family photo on June 4th to the congratulations on June 13th, has been building toward that moment. Let me talk about what it means for Jimin specifically to perform in Busan on the 13th anniversary of BTS's debut, because I think this is the heart of the whole story and I want to give it the space it deserves. Jimin's relationship with Busan is one of the most emotionally resonant through lines in his entire public narrative. He has talked about it in interviews across his career, about what the city means to him, about what it felt like to leave it, about the specific texture of his memories of growing up there and training there and becoming the beginning of who he is in those streets. Busan is not just a hometown for Jimin in the generic biographical sense. It is a place that shaped something fundamental about how he understands himself and his artistry. The contemporary dance training that forms the foundation of everything he does on a stage came from Busan. The relationships and the experiences that made him the specific kind of person he is came from Busan. When Jimin performs, when he does the things he does on a stage that have earned him the concert god title and the 69 million views and the sustained recognition of critics and fans across the globe, he is performing with a foundation that Busan built. And on June 12th and 13th he is going to stand on a stage in that city and perform at the peak of his powers in front of a crowd that will include people who watched him grow up there, and the emotional weight of that is something that I genuinely believe cannot be fully calculated in advance. The last time BTS performed in Busan before this was in October 2022, a concert that was itself deeply significant as part of BTS's support for Busan's bid to host the World Expo 2030. That concert was a farewell of sorts, a goodbye to a chapter that was about to close as the members prepared for their military service. And now, approximately 3 years and 8 months later, they are returning. Not as a group preparing to say goodbye but as a group announcing through the very fact of their presence together on that stage that the goodbye is over. That the chapter that closed in 2022 has reopened. That BTS, all 7 of them, are back in Busan for the anniversary, and that the city which has always had a particular emotional resonance in the BTS story is going to be the place where the 13th anniversary is finally, fully, joyfully celebrated. Every ticket for both Busan nights sold out immediately. That fact is worth noting not just as a commercial achievement but as a statement about what this moment means to the people who love BTS. The demand was not for a concert in a convenient location or at a convenient time. The demand was specifically for these dates, these nights, this stadium, this city. ARMY understood instinctively what it meant for the 13th anniversary shows to be in Busan, and they responded with the full force of a fandom that has been waiting for this moment across years of military service and anticipation, and the particular kind of patient hope that only people who truly believe in something are capable of sustaining. And Jimin arriving at those shows, Jimin stepping onto the stage of the Busan Asiad main stadium on June 12th and again on June 13th, is going to be a moment that exists in a category of its own even within the already extraordinary context of BTS World Tour Erarang. The Las Vegas shows gave us the concert god. The World Tour has given us performance after performance that has left audiences describing experiences beyond their vocabulary. But Busan is going to give us something different. Something that is less about technical mastery and more about the specific, unrepeatable feeling of a person standing exactly where they were always supposed to stand, in the city that made them, on the anniversary of the day they became who they are, doing the thing they were born to do. That is not a performance. That is a homecoming in the deepest sense of the word. And Jimin's homecoming is going to be felt by every person in that stadium and by every ARMY member watching from anywhere in the world in a way that transcends the normal boundaries of what a concert can produce. I want to talk about the congratulations entry that closes the entire Festa schedule, because it is the perfect ending to this whole story and I think it deserves to be read carefully. 2013-06-13. Congratulations. That is the full debut date written out and then one word placed after it. Not a description of what the content will be or what form the celebration will take. Just congratulations. Offered to BTS and ARMY together, from Big Hit, from the world, from everyone who has been part of this journey. Congratulations on 13 years. Congratulations on coming back. Congratulations on all of it, the music and the tours and the records and the cultural impact and the moments that changed people's lives and the performances that will be remembered for decades and the 7 individuals who chose to be BTS and kept choosing it through everything that the choosing required of them. And congratulations to ParkJimin specifically. To the boy from Busan who became one of the most celebrated artists on the planet. To the dancer who learned his craft in a city that had no idea it was building a global icon. To the vocalist whose live performances in Las Vegas were described by Korean media using the highest language available to them. To the solo artist who put the first Korean name on the Billboard Hot 100 #1 spot. To the Dior ambassador and the Nike collaborator and the Army's bias and the bias wrecker and the concert god and the man who smiled at a security guard and produced 69 million views because that is simply what Jimin does when he is present and alive and fully himself on a stage. To the person who is going to walk out onto the Busan Asiad main stadium on June 13, 2026, on the 13th anniversary of BTS's debut, in the city that raised him, and do what he has always done. Give everything. Hold nothing back. Be completely and entirely ParkJimin in front of the people who have been waiting for exactly that. Congratulations is the right word. It is the only word. And what is waiting for Jimin at the end of the Festa 2026 schedule is not just a concert. It is the destination of a 13-year journey. It is the city saying welcome home to its most celebrated son. It is ARMY saying we waited and it was worth every moment of the wait. It is BTS saying to each other and to the world that they made it. All 7. Together. In Busan. On the anniversary. After everything. I told you at the start of this video to stay with me. I told you that the ending would hit differently if you followed the whole journey to get there. And now you have. Now you know what is waiting for Jimin at the end of this schedule. Now you understand why I could not stop thinking about it. And I hope, wherever you are watching this from, whatever time it is, whatever version of being an ARMY you are, I hope you feel what I felt when I finally put all of this together. The weight of it. The beauty of it. The rightness of it. ParkJimin. Busan. June 13th. The end of the schedule. The end of one chapter and the beginning of the next. Congratulations. Thank you so much for being here for this video. Please hit the like button if this story moved you the way it moved me. Leave a comment below telling me whether you are going to Busan or watching from home and what this moment means to you, because I genuinely want to know. Subscribe to the channel because the Festa content coming over the next 10 days is going to be something we need to be here for together. And take care of yourselves, ARMY. All the way to June 13th and beyond. Purple you always. Purple heart.